Alright, welcome everyone to the stream. You missed out on a couple things. I'll quickly go over a quick recap just to, for everybody on the stream who's not here live. Again, this is product training for Built by Duke. Basically, uh, when you found the client, you need to know what to say to the client to get them to see that they have an issue, because they're not going to be sitting there like, yeah, I need a new website, man, I really wish someone would come along and text me about making me a new website, because they don't care. So anyways, you don't need to know how to build websites. You don't need to understand how to code. You need to understand one thing: most small businesses are losing customers right now because their online presence, and they don't know it. Your job is to help them see that and then show them that we can fix it. Now, boom, this is an example of a bad website. This is an example of a good website. We're about to get into what differentiates them in a minute. Websites matter because before people call a business or even interact with anyone from the business, they go through their website. They Google their name, click the first link, and in 5 seconds they've decided whether or not they trust them. If their website looks like this, like chances are the customer is going to click off of their website and then go with Clearwater Plumbing. And now, when you have a bad website, you lose customers without even knowing that they were on the website. You lose trust because it makes it look like you're just one person, operating the business. You lose revenue to competitors who have a better looking site, even if their work isn't better. Just because their site looks better, they will get the client just because their site is what they're going off of when they make the decision as to who to work with. Owners are not sitting around. Thinking I need a better website. They're thinking, it's slow this month, I'm not getting enough calls. They don't connect the dots themselves. Our job as reps is to help them connect the dots. That's why we ask questions. To understand this. So they're not gonna be sitting there thinking, I really wish I had a better website right now. They're gonna be thinking, I'm not getting that many clients. It's kind of slow that month. I'm getting a lot of traffic, but not a lot of conversions. I don't know what's going on. They don't connect the dots. You have to help them connect those dots. So you have to be able to look at a business website and know whether it's good or bad. And this is how you can tell. Signs of a bad site: if it doesn't load fast on your phone, or it looks terrible on mobile, if you can't find a phone number or contact form in the first few seconds, like if there's no way to reach them on their site, then what's the point? If it looks like it hasn't been updated in years, old fonts, low quality photos, broken layout, that's a bad site. If there's no clear message about what they do and who they serve, like, we are this is what we do, this is who we serve, then that's a bad site because customers are just unaware. If they have no Google reviews or anything like that, any reviews or testimonials shown on the site, they're losing conversion there. They're losing customers there because people buy off other people. They buy when they're reputable, when people are saying, yeah, these guys are good. Mostly, predominantly. If it's hard to navigate, if there are way too many pages and confusing menus and no clear next step, then that's a confusing site because customers aren't going to the website to get confused. They're going to the website to find a call now button so that they can solve their problem, or they're looking for more information about the business to know if that's even the person they want to call. If there's no lead capture, there's no form, no chat, or no way to book or get a quote. So lead capture form is basically that form on the site where it says, reach out to us, we'll contact you soon. And it's like, what's your first name, what's your last name, what's your email, where do you live, what do you need, how much money are you willing to invest. That's a lead capture form. If they don't have that, then they have no way to collect customers information and reach out to them. A bad site, now, those are signs of a bad site. Now, on the flip side, there are also signs of a good site. Now, what does a good website look like? What is happening? I'll give this 1 second. You might be asking, what does a good website look like? After this thing stops. 1 second, y'all. But pretty much you want to be able to if it's a good website or a bad website, so that when you're website. You're not going to tell someone who doesn't have Google reviews, to tell someone who doesn't have Google reviews on their site the same thing that you would tell someone who doesn't have a lead capture form on their site. Questions, getting to know their process, their business, and business and why they do things the way they do it. Because then your chances of success go down significantly, just because you might tell them something that they don't need or they don't care about. With customers, you want to tell them stuff, you want to speak to them. You want to speak to not only what they think they need, but also educate them on the things that they might not even know they need. So that's why it's good to know, be the person and help them make an educated decision, and that they trust you enough to help them make that decision. And if someone might need a website, then how in the heck are you going to convince someone else who doesn't even know about websites that they need a website? Because most of these business owners don't know about websites. They just know that they want customers, returns, and profits. They don't know exactly how the website correlates to their customer returns and profits. But that's where we come in, to show them and tell them, you can get more inbound leads and have customers reaching out to you instead of spending all your time reaching out to customers, trying to always, grind and get a sale. Because if customers reach out to you, then that's that many profile page as a DM setter. Because if your profile page is established enough to the point where people are reaching out to you about websites, then that's excellent. Because and you don't have to have like a super big page, like 10,000, 20,000 people to do that. You just have to have valuable information that makes you stop and think, that actually makes sense. Let me reach out to this person and see what else they have to offer, or what else they have to say. So I'm gonna X out of this because it's being slow. Am I still streaming, or did it stop streaming? Yeah, you just really want to have good information. Let's check the chat real quick. Tell basic website not bad. Nah, it's bad to any business owner who's serious about scaling their business. Because if they're serious about scaling their business, then they're not going to want a basic website. They're going to want a good website that actually reflects the quality of who and what they are. Because if you're a basic business, then if you're fine with just being a basic business, then okay, fine. You could keep your basic website that barely converts customers. But if you're really serious about scaling and becoming, a shark in your industry, and being like one of the best that actually makes a lot of money in your industry, then you're going to need a good website to reflect the quality of what you do. Because besides that, where else are people going to see the quality of your work? Maybe on your Facebook, but that in itself is unprofessional. One thing you can do if you're already talking with the client, like who's kind of skeptical, you can say you're already fighting with blank people in the industry, but if you want to continue doing that, then it's up to you. I mean, I would refine that, change it up a little bit, because either way, the website isn't gonna make it so they're not fighting with other people. It's just gonna make it so they're more likely to win the fight. Like, at the end of the day, they're still gonna have competition. They're still gonna have people in their industry who are doing the same thing as them. So I'll tell basic versus a great website. Wait, hold on. At the end of the day, they're still gonna have other people in their industry who are still providing the same service as them. But if they don't have a website that reflects on the quality of their work, the other person is going to win every time. And they're going to continue being, the second pick. And they're not going to get any customers because they're all going to the person who has the website that looks the most qualified. So it's not about changing that there's competition. It's about making them rank higher with the competition. Like they instead of the competition getting the client because their website isn't qualified, they get the client because they're at the top of their game. So it's just making them look more trustworthy, credible, and established in their space. And if they're serious about what they do, then that's exactly what they want. They want to look credible, established, trustworthy. They want to look like somebody who actually, has experience in offering what they offer. Because if they have experience in offering what they offer, then, they'll get more customers. And the more customers they get, the more money they make, the more they can scale, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Business 101. Now, let me share my screen again. I don't know why it ended up messing up. I think you guys can see my screen. Are we good? Are we clear? Are we green? Are we green light, green light, green light, go? And I'll basic versus great website. I'll probably end up red light. You can't see my screen? It's got trolling. I'll probably end up making a basic versus good website or versus great website in the future. For right now, we're just gonna get you guys some information on good versus bad, because you want to make sure that you have enough information to help them make a decision. Well, in the future, we'll provide training on what makes an okay website versus a great website and how to convert clients on that, which will increase our clientele, like our client pool, by a lot, which means we'll be able to market to more people, which in turn means more sales. But for now, we just need to know this. I'll include some information on that in the future, though. I will, maybe in the next training. But all right, so we've seen what signs of a bad site. It doesn't load. You can't find a phone number or contact information. It looks like it hasn't been updated. There's no clear message about what they do and who they serve. There's no Google reviews. It's hard to navigate. There's no lead capture. There's nowhere for you to leave your name and information so that they can reach out to you and, help you. So here's bad site. Takes 8 seconds to load. No phone number. How do I reach them? How do I it says contact. Okay. No reviews. Customer reviews. There's no reviews. I don't know if I want to work with them. Confusing navigation. Good site. Loads instantly. A phone number. Reviews. 3-click navigation. Easy. Makes it easier for the customer to say yes. Signs of a good site. Loads fast and looks clean on a phone. You know exactly what to do within 3 seconds of landing on it. Or you know exactly what the business owner does within 3 seconds of landing on it. There's a clear call to action. It says either call now, get a free quote, or book online. Big green button that is easy for a customer to click yes. Google reviews are visible and make them look credible. 4.8 stars based on 257 reviews. I want to work with them. Easy contact, phone number at the top, form on the page, landing form, professional photos that make the business look legit, and there's one clear message, not a wall of text. That can change sometimes. Sometimes it will be a wall of text, but not confusing text. You don't need to be a designer to spot the difference. If you land on a site and your first thought is this looks sketchy or I'd never call these people, that's a bad site. Trust your gut. I'm gonna take that part out. If your first thought is this looks sketchy or I'm not gonna call them, that's a bad site. So what Built by Duke actually sells? We don't sell just websites, we sell results, and here's the difference. This is what $2,500 will get you over at Built by Duke. Key differences from typical bad sites is that we're fast and mobile optimized. We load in under 2 seconds and looks perfect on any device. A clear and focused message, as you can see, the CTA, call to action, get free quote. If they looked up Summit Construction, the reason they're looking up Summit Construction is because they want us to do a construction project for them. Kitchen remodel, bathroom remodel, home addition, outdoor living, custom homes. And they want one of those things. So they're like, all right, let me get a free quote. Oh, wow, they've got a lot of reviews. They've got a lot of reviews. They've got 5-star reviews on Google. Wow, they must be pretty good. Let me either leave my information with them or let me, call them and see what they have to say. It makes it very easy for the customer to do that. We add credentials, 15 years in business, 100 projects completed, fully licensed and insured. Cool, that's trustworthy. We're built to convert. Strong CTAs, trust signals, and social proof turn visitors into customers. A professional site that builds trust and books more jobs. Now, we're not saying that we'll build you a nice website. We're saying that we'll get you more calls from people who found you on Google. We'll get you more trust when someone looks up. You look like an obvious choice. We'll get you a system that captures leads automatically, even when you're on the job making money already. You're getting more leads. You get your own traffic, no more paying for shared leads through Angie's List or Thumbtack. And you get a brand that lets you charge more because you look like the premium option. When someone hires Built by Duke, they're not just getting a website, they're getting a professionally designed site built around converting visitors into customers, a SEO structure so that people looking them up on Google can actually find them, Google review integration so that their reputation builds trust automatically, and a lead capture system so that no inquiry or potential buyer slips through. And they also get a brand upgrade. They go from just a guy in a truck to established professional business. The goal of Built by Duke's site is simple: more customers, more trust, more calls, less relying on luck of the draw. Now, as you can see, it looks very nice, very cool, very cool. So if a customer ever asks you some stuff about this, we have stuff to say. How to explain results when a lead asks. Sometimes a lead will ask, okay, but what does the website actually do for me? Here are some safe, simple ways to answer that. If they're a contractor or trade business, right now when someone Googles plumbers near me or HVAC repair in Atlanta, the businesses with a real website shows up first. If you don't have one or yours looks bad, they click on someone else. They click on someone else. I'm going to take this out because that's further along the conversation. Right now, as yours looks bad, they click on someone else. How much business are being out on and don't? Oh, wait. You're losing out on customers and you don't even know it. So I just revised this a little bit. Right now, if someone Googles plumbers near me in city, the businesses with real websites show up first. If you don't have one or yours looks bad and they click someone else, you're losing out on customers and you don't even know it. Excuse me. If they're asking about our return on interest, one job, basically they're saying, how much am I going to make with the website? Depending on their job, you can say this: one job that comes through your website pays for the whole thing. A good site doesn't just sit there. It works for you 24 hours a day, bringing in leads while you're on a job site. And one job that comes through your website pays for the whole thing. Chances are you'll get a lot more than just one job. A good site doesn't just sit there. It works for you 24 hours a day, bringing in leads while you're already on a job site. I get it. Now, if they're skeptical, I don't know if I need a website. I don't know if I need this and that. I get it. But when's the last time you actually looked your business up on Google? What did it look like? Because that's what your customers are seeing before they decide whether to call you. So if they look themselves up on Google and it doesn't seem like a good, reputable source of, work, or they don't seem like a reputable partner, someone to do business with, then chances are the customers aren't going to reach out to them. Now, our pricing, you don't need to lead with price. You should not lead with price. Don't lead with price ever. But you should understand the tiers so you know what we're talking about. When a lead asks, the closer will handle the full breakdown. Your job is to just know the range. For a landing page, that's $600. Typically, we don't want to sell these. We don't really want to sell landing pages because it's one page and it's super easy to do. Good for a business that just needs to exist and look legit online. If we do end up, they say no to 1,000. Okay, we can make you a landing page or something. That's all you really need then. if they end up saying no to just a simple site. Simple site, a few pages, like three at the max. I would say like three or four max. They've got some basic information. They've got a professional look, and it's good for small businesses that need more than a single page. Now we've got a regular/optimized site, which is a full site with SEO structure, lead capture, Google review integration. This is where we want to, push most businesses. The 2.5 thousand, like boom, like this one. That's where we want to push most businesses. Mid-tier, more complex, more features, more pages for businesses that are growing and need a system, not just a site. For the mid-tier site, it would be more something that looks like this. This would be like more of a $5,000 site. In addition to all the other stuff, it would be this way visually. It would look like this visually. Am I streaming my whole screen? Wait, hold on. I am, okay. So for a mid-tier site, it would look visually more something like this. God damn, if this shit won't fucking play. Yes. It look like this visually. And then in addition to the copywriting and all that stuff, we could charge someone $5,000 for a site like this easily. Just based off quality, premium. Complex or difficult site, which is even more than that. We haven't created a site at that price range yet, but I would want it to look something like this. I'm not saying that this is all theoretical right here, because we haven't even made a complex/difficult site yet. I would want it to look something like this though, like something fucking just crazy. I don't think we're ready to build $10,000 sites yet. To just being honest, I don't think we're ready to build $10,000 sites. But in the future, we will be able to, make shit like this, which will be crazy, and we'll be able to charge $10,000, $20,000, even more. But for now, try to sell sites for anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000, depending on what the business needs. $5,000 are more complex, more features, more pages for businesses that are growing and need a system, not just a site. And we'll put $10,000, $20,000 sites on the back end until we're, able to consistently create those types of things. Now, important, pricing changes based on scope. If a business needs extra features, integrations, or a bigger build, the price reflects that. Never quote an exact number in the DMs. Tell them that the closer will walk them through what fits their situation specifically, which is why we ask questions, because we want to know as much information as possible about their situation. We want to do our due diligence, our research on the customer, the type of client they are. Someone in real estate might have more money to spend than someone in, restaurant owner. So those are some things that you want to keep in mind as well while you're, talking with the client. How to sound like you know what you're talking about. You don't need to pretend to be an expert. You need to sound like someone who genuinely understands their problem and knows where they're at. Look at their situation. Look at their site before you DM them. Know what's wrong with it. Speak to their situation, not a generic pitch. I noticed your site doesn't load well on mobile. Hits different than we build websites. Ask questions instead of making statements, because if you make a statement, you give someone something to disagree with. I learned that earlier today. Shout out Gihan. Are you getting many calls from your website right now? It's better than your website is bad. Stay calm and consultative. You're not selling them. You're like a doctor diagnosing a problem. Don't send a long DM explaining everything we offer, because they won't care. Because not everything we offer relates to their specific problem. That's the job of the closer, after we've asked enough questions to be able to tell what they need specifically. Don't talk about features before you understand the problem. Tying back into this point right here, we need to understand the problem first and foremost before we can, talk about all the cool stuff we offer. Because if we don't even know enough as to know how we talk to them, because when they tell you their problems, they're telling you how to speak to them. They're telling you what they need help with, so you know how to navigate that. Like if they say, we're not getting a lot of customers, we're getting a lot of traffic on our site, but no one is reaching out to us from our website. Well, I've heard that a couple of times. Usually the problem with that is because of the lead generation form. I looked at your site. I looked at your lead acquisition form. I looked at your site, and the lead acquisition form is actually not even fully built out. So that might be the exact reason why that's happening. Have you noticed that? Is that something you were looking to get fixed, or is it just something that you would, fine with just leaving as is? I mean, obviously you said it seems to be a problem, correct? So how long are you just gonna let that problem just sit there without, taking action to try to solve it? Don't sound desperate or pushy if they're not interested in the site and they continuously say that. If they continue to say, I don't need a site, I don't need a site, I don't want a site, I don't want a site, then at some point move on. You could have the conversation for a long time, like especially if they ghost you, you want to follow up 7 times on someone that ghosts you. But if it gets to a point though, like you want to try to sell as much as you can and try to ask questions and try to help them out as much as they're willing to be helped out. But it does get to a point. I'm not gonna say just move on if they're not interested, because there are plenty of times where a customer can act like they're not interested, but they really still need the thing. If they genuinely need help, I would say don't even move on. Just don't sound pushy. You could don't sound desperate, don't sound pushy. But if they're not interested, you can make them interested. If they're getting upset, at the fact at you, if they're getting upset at you, then ask a couple more questions, then move on. Once they're at the point where they're like, I'm gonna block you or report you or some shit. So don't sound desperate or pushy, but don't just leave because they say, I'm not interested in the site. Because you could flip that around. You could be like, oh, okay, I see you're not interested in the site. Why is that? Have you, tried to make a website before? You just ask more questions. Like, turn their objection into information. If they object, that's a good area to get some more information on exactly why they're objecting, about what and how we can overcome the objection. They'll literally tell you. So, oh yeah, I had a website, it didn't convert well. Okay, so if we can make you a website that converts well and brings you 2 to 3 times more customers than the last website, would you be interested then? Yeah, sure. Okay, cool. So we can do that. I'm gonna refer you to blah 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 blah. Cool, easy. So objection is not always an objection. Sometimes it's just information as to the exact problem that you need to solve. Anyways, don't make promises that you can't keep. Stay honest and let the product speak for itself. The rep's job is to get them curious enough to get on the call. The closer's job is to close. Don't try to do both in the DM. And if you're a setter that thinks you can close, then you set for yourself. You don't close through DMs. You never close through DMs. Before you DM any lead, you have a 60-second audit that you can check. It takes less than a minute, and it lets you go into the conversation knowing immediately what's wrong. Makes you sound credible. Excellent. So here is the 60-second audit, which is basically just like a cheat sheet that you can refer to before you DM someone. And here are a couple of openers. Now you can check, does it load in under 3 seconds on your phone? Does it look good on mobile? Is it optimized for mobile? Is there a clean phone number or contact button visible at the top? Do you know exactly what it is this business owner does and who they serve in the first 5 seconds? Are there Google reviews or any social proof on the site, like testimonials? This guy does great work, da da da. Is there a lead capture form or a way to get a quote online? Does it look professional, or does it look like it was built 10 years ago? If they're failing 3 or more, I would say even 2. If they're failing 2 or more of these checks, they are a good lead. You now know exactly what to say. Here are real examples of how to keep a conversation, or how to open a conversation naturally without it sounding like a pitch. Keep it short, keep it conversational, let them respond. Hey, Jimmy, found you while looking into plumbing businesses in Atlanta. Checked your site. Do you get many new leads coming through it? I'm asking because I noticed there's no way for visitors to book or request a quote directly. And then don't tell them that don't tell them that we help with anything. Just ask the question. Don't say we build websites. Don't tell them that, because they're gonna ask questions about that, and then but we want to ask our questions first before they start asking us questions, so that we can help qualify them. Sometimes it works to tell them, I work with a company that builds websites. Sometimes that works. Most of the time, through DM specifically, we don't want to just go straight into the pitch, especially when we haven't built any rapport or they don't know us like from a rock and a stone. So we're gonna cut a lot of this because you don't want to just be like, yeah, we build websites. Hey, Jimmy, saw your business on Facebook. Do you have a website? If they don't have a website, they're gonna say no. Some of these are kind of bad. I'll have to change these up a little bit. I didn't really check this part of the document before I started presenting it. When they ask what you're reaching out about, honestly, I originally reached out because I noticed your site wasn't capturing leads, but looking at your page, it seems like getting more consistent calls might be a bigger priority. I'm glad we're talking. If they say, why are you reaching out, I'm going to change all of these. I'm not going to lie. That's it for today's training, because I'm going to change these openings because I don't like how they look. I don't like these openings. Like, these are terrible. But with that being said, that is the end of today's training. We've got some other documents here for you to refer to while you're setting, so you can be successful. Use these documents, use these resources while you're setting. Refer to them so that while you're setting, you can be successful. That being said, here are a couple of good openers for when you reach out to them. A lot of the stuff in the document, keep in mind this document is very new. I just made it today. So a lot of this stuff will end up being changed. But as of right now, this is more than enough information for us to be having the conversations with the clients that we're finding by using the methods from the other document, which is this one. This document has more methods on how to find clients and where to find them. This document is more used for, what to say to the client when you message them. So here's a quick cheat sheet at the end. 3 key beliefs, cool. Pricing tiers, cool. What results do the website get? 3 do's, 3 don'ts. Quick success tips, cool. That being